Welcome back now. South Africa's mining production increased 2.4% year on year in June. PGMs and coal were among the top positive contributors, while PGMs and gold led the output gains in the second quarter. Mining Director at Modern Corporate Solutions, Peter Major, joins us now to unpack the Stats SA data. Thank you so much for your time, Peter. Let's actually start off with the month on June and that year-on-year uptick. What's interesting is that the biggest contributors to that growth in output are actually the commodities that have seen the biggest price pressures in the latest down cycle. So just talk to me about this uptick in supply amid soft pricing.
Well, it's great you mentioned, yes, the commodities that show the biggest production increase were the ones that had the biggest drop in price. So that's normally what happens, though. If you're producing something and you're not getting paid as much for it, you still have the same amount of costs, if not more. So you have to generate more sales, more production to get more sales. So we know PGM prices have taken a real horrible beating the first 6 months of this year, and they'd been falling last year. But they've had a nice jump in price the last 4 to 8 weeks, really, but especially the last 5 weeks. So we're going to see that come through in the coming months. In fact, we'll probably see it next month, but this quarter is going to be great going forward. But this PGM output, it's pretty impressive, 3%. It's not a big number, but it shows we got a robust platinum industry, and nobody's cutting back even at the poor prices we've seen the last year. So I think we're going to have increased production the coming quarter, and we're going to have a really big jump in sales by the PGMs.
Right.
And coal,
yes.
Same story.
Same story.
Literally the same exact story in coal. Yeah. South Africa has lots of coal. We probably have too many coal miners, but you have to produce what there's a market for. And we know that the world market for coal is great, and prices took also a big fall end of last year, early this year, but they have rebounded. I think prices the last month are up 15, almost 20%, but we'll only see those positive numbers in a month or two from now.
Right. I mean, is this increase in mining production maybe also a good sign on the logistics side that what we produce is finally able to be moved out of the country to the export markets?
That's the biggest indictment, unfortunately, on government, is we make real money selling coal offshore. And we've blown both our feet off, and we've fallen from over 80 million tons to below 60. And those are good prices we get overseas. So we're down 20 million tons from what we're capable of doing, what we've done before. And yeah, getting logistics, that's what it needs. The producers can churn the coal out. The miners don't have a problem, but it's moving that on train, and it's moving it at the port onto the ships. So if government wants to improve their trade balance, if they want to make things better for the coal industry, they've got to fix Transnet, and they've really got to fix our harbors.
Well, something that is quite interesting is gold, because when you take a look at the month of June, gold actually didn't participate in terms of being the biggest contributor in that uptick in production. I did see, though, that it did participate in terms of when you look at the second quarter of this year compared to the second quarter of last year. What do you think are the dynamics playing out here in gold, considering the fact that you would think that in this price climate for gold, that they really be churning out a lot of gold?
What definitely happens is when the gold price goes up extraordinarily, like it has this year, if anything, your production goes down a little bit because you tend to mine anything that's pay that wasn't pay before. So you save your high grade, and say you had low grade that was going to cost you more than you were getting. Now all of a sudden that low grade is paying you to move it. And the low grade is easy to get to. and you probably have an abundance of it. So, yeah, your gold production, the tons produced, the ounces produced, it doesn't jump up, not officially when the price goes up, but it's good news for the industry because that extends their life. By mining low-grade reefs, mining low-grade stockpiles, even waste sometimes can pay at these kind of gold prices. That's good because it extends the life of the mine. And then if the price comes off a little bit or even goes flat, but the costs continue to climb, they've got their high grade. And look, the gold miners, they know how to do this very well. They've been doing it for 125 years. It's just sad that we've only got 20% of the mines that we had 20 years ago. It's sad that we've only got 20% of the men working on gold mines that we had 20 years ago, because we could really be capitalizing on this. Instead of being 2.5%, 3% of world production, we'd be at least 25, 30% of world production.
Peter, I was actually looking for copper in those numbers to see what kind of contribution that would make. In fact, I actually think I saw that there was a decline in copper production. Is it a case of South Africa's not really a copper miner?
Exactly. We're not even close. Oddly enough, we were Africa's first official copper miner, starting in 1852 at O'Keefe. We had listed copper companies listed in London in 1852.
Yeah.
And we were the copper producer of the continent right up until the 1900s. Now, there's no way our copper resources will ever compare with Zambia's or with the DRC's, but there's no reason this country can't produce 250,000 tons of copper a year. And with copper just under $10,000 a ton, hey, what's 250,000 tons? Huh? $2.5 billion? So copper could make a real contribution to the country. It could really help the Northern Cape. It could really help, we think, our northern border with Zimbabwe. Messina Copper, that ran for almost 100 years. They've still got a lot of copper there. Palabora, these copper prices are going to keep Palabora going for another 15 years in real terms. So we should be increasing our copper production. We do have copper. It's not hard to get to, and it's decent grade. And we're not taking advantage of it at all. We should be producing 3 times the copper we're now producing.
Well, I guess on that front, then all eyes are on Orion Minerals. As you talk about O'Keefe, and they have said that they are aiming to produce copper, saleable copper by the end of next year. So we will see how that goes. Thank you so much for your time and for your insights today, Peter. Really, really appreciate it. That was Peter Major, Mining Director at Modern Corporate Solutions.